Good morning, boys and girls. It is Wednesday today, the third school day of the week, and today we are going to read Mr. Tull. And I was actually thinking to myself, have any of you read these stories before? Because I don't know if you have. So maybe if anyone is emailing me, they could tell me which one is their favourite so far, or which one is your favourite if you've already read them. So today we're reading Mr. Tull, and this is what Mr. Tull looks like. He has very long arms. Nope. He has very long ears. Nope. He has very long chin. Nope. He has very long legs. Yes, he has very long legs. Mr. Tull. Mr. Tull was very, very tall. Quite the tallest person you've ever met. In fact, quite the tallest person you've never met, because you've never met anybody with legs as long as Mr. Tull's legs. Have you? Wow, look how long he is. He doesn't even fit on the page on the book. Now, the problem of being as tall as Mr. Tull was that life was just one long problem. As you can see, oh look, he doesn't fit in his bed either. He has to keep his legs bent. That must be so uncomfortable. Oh dear, he used to sigh. Oh dear me, I do so wish that my legs weren't quite so very, very, very long. He decided to go for a walk to think over his problem. He was just stepping over a tree when he heard a voice. A little voice. Hello? There he is. So super tall. It was Mr. Small, standing underneath a daisy. But Mr. Tull was so tall that he couldn't see him. So Mr. Small shouted at the top of his voice, "Hello!" A Mr. Small shout is about as loud as a bee's sneeze. Oh, that is so quiet. Hopefully he sees him. So it took quite some time for Mr. Tull to spot him. "Oh," he said gloomily, "it's you." "You don't look very happy," said Mr. Small. "What's up?" "I'm not," replied Mr. Tull, "because of these silly long legs of mine." "Oh," said Mr. Small. There they are having their chat. Mr. Small decided to cheer him up. "Let's go for a walk together," he suggested. So they did, which of course didn't work. It was like a giraffe going for a walk with a mouse. Then Mr. Small had an idea, which did work. Oh, what a great idea. Look, he's up in the clouds, sitting on his head. How fun. Do you get to go on a grown-up's shoulders sometimes? I'd say it's brilliant if you do. And because of the length of Mr. Tull's legs, they very quickly walked all the way to the seaside. "Come for a swim," cried Mr. Small. "Can't," replied Mr. Tull. "By the time it gets deep enough for me to swim, I'll be out the other side." What a funny thing to say. There they are at the beach. How lovely. So Mr. Small went for a swim, while Mr. Tull sat down with a face which was nearly as long as his legs. Oh, Mr. Tull is not one bit happy. What could Mr. Small do to cheer him up? I wonder. He could encourage him to sit on the beach and put his feet in the water and kick his legs. That might be a nice thing to do. Mr. Tickle came along. "Hello," he said. "You look as if you need cheering up. Care for a tickle?" "No, thanks," replied Mr. Tull. What I would care for are some different legs. Mine are much too long." So are my arms, said Mr. Tiggle cheerfully, but all the better for tiggling. And off he went chuckling, looking for somebody to tickle, looking for anybody to tickle. Sorry, there he is, trying to tickle him. And then on the next page, Mr. Tickle goes off to try and find people to tickle. There he looks so happy, ready to tickle people. Mr. Nosy came along. Cheer up, he said. You look very down in the mouth. What's the problem? It's my legs, replied Mr. Tall. They are too long. So's my nose, replied Mr. Nosy, laughing, but all the better for poking into other people's business. And off he went, looking for something to be nosy about, looking for anything to be nosy about. Mr. Greedy came along. Hello, he cried. You look gloomy. What's wrong? It's my legs, explained Mr. Tall. They're too big. So is my tummy, replied Mr. Greedy, but all the better for filling with food. And off he went, licking his lips. Mr. Tall sat there and thought about Mr. Tickle's arms and Mr. Nosy's nose and Mr. Greedy's tummy. He smiled, and then he grinned, and then he laughed out loud. He looked at his legs, those very, very, very long legs of his. All the better for walking, he chuckled, and walked home in 4 minutes. 40 miles. I hope he didn't forget about Mr. Small. Mr. Small came out of the sea after his short swim. How am I going to get home? He asked himself. So he set off walking all the way home, 40 miles. That was last year. Oh, poor Mr. Small. He's still walking home. He got home yesterday. Oh, terrific. That was a great story. I enjoyed that one. Mr. Tall. And today, boys and girls, our rhyme is going to be Ba, ba, black sheep. So in this rhyme, I want you to tell me how many bags of wool there are at the end of the rhyme. So we'll sing it first and then you tell me, okay? 1, 2, 3. Ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. 1 for the master and 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. So did you catch how many bags of wool are there all together? 3. Very good. 1, 2, 3. 3 bags of wool. Well done. That was excellent listening. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow.